should be a run out of the bowler's end. He's a run out of the bowler's end. That is simply magnificent.
What a catch! Their first wicket in the ECL, and what a way to...
Good evening, everybody, wherever you are watching around the world. Welcome to European Cricket Studio, episode 22 with me, Vinny, Sandhu, or Mr. Maximo, as you may know me from the European Cricket League. And it's great to have your company. We've got a big show coming up for you tonight on Facebook Live, of course. We had an exciting show last week with Terry O'Connor from Czech Cricket, talking all about the Czech Super Series T10 tournament, which is going to be coming up in June and July. We've also got the opportunity for you to go one-on-one with me again. We'll have the link up shortly. So if you'd like to join me during the show, all you have to do is click on that link and you can join me for a one-on-one in the studio. There's so much going on European cricket at the moment. We had an announcement from the Dutch cricket authorities that there would be no cricket before September 1, so they have decided to qualify the same teams for ECL 21. So there's been heaps of breaking news and just a lot happening. So it's great to be with you and giving you all the updates and, of course, have some fun as well. We've got Rico Phull, who is from Cricket España and also one of our European Cricket Series commentators from Spain earlier in the year. He'll be joining us for a chat. Also, we've got Crick-splaining again as one of our most popular segments where we explain a little bit about cricket, and we've got a very relevant law coming up for you in Crick-splaining tonight, and also a highlights video. So we've got plenty on the show tonight. Thanks for joining us. But our first guest is from Cricket España, and he did a great job for us in the Dream 11 European Cricket Series in Alicante as a commentator, and he joins us tonight. So please welcome to the show, Mr. Rico Phull. Welcome, Rico.
Hello, Vinny. How you doing? Hello, everybody.
Look, and you look fantastic there. Just tell us what is that shirt you're wearing tonight?
Well, I thought, it'd be appropriate to wear a shirt which has got the La Manga resort logo on it, and I think viewers will know La Manga from last year, the European Champions League, and also the Cricket España one. And this shirt was one that we were wearing when we had the ICC women's qualifiers at La Manga. So yeah, I knew you were going to be nice and bright, and I had to be as bright. So yeah, but I think you've beat me.
I feel like you might be outshining me in that beautiful red number. And of course, yeah, La Manga last year, the host of the inaugural European Cricket League tournament, won by VOC Rotterdam. And actually, ECL 20 was meant to start on Sunday, so in only 3 days. And of course, it's a shame to not be there again. But as we know, it's been put back to 2021, and we're in preparations for that tournament. Of course, the coronavirus throwing the whole world into chaos. But Rico, you actually were at the ECL 19 last year. And what capacity were you at the tournament, and how did you find it?
Well, I was there as a scorer. I was asked to score, and at the same time, my nephew was there as well as one of the ball boys, and I was absolutely fantastic. For a tournament like that and that setup in Spain, it was brilliant. I mean, we've been going to, myself and the family, and we've been playing cricket in Spain for a very long time. So I've been going to La Manga all the time. But I remember turning up on that morning of the first day and seeing the setup. It was like walking through like one of these portholes. You know what La Manga looks like, but when we walked up to the ground and saw it looking the way it did, it was fantastic. And you knew then that cricket had come to Spain in a big way. It was fantastic. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and I think we were quite close to each other during the cricket. And with the small ground and balls flying everywhere, there were quite a few times we felt in danger, weren't there?
There was quite a few which went over us and under us, and one or two almost went through us, didn't they? But yeah, it was exciting times. And where we were, where the scorers were and the commentators, I think it was an ideal location. You could see everything. It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, we'll never forget it, and we can't wait to be back there again next year. Of course, we're hopeful of bringing some cricket to the continent sooner rather than later. But before we talk about what's coming up, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you ended up in Spain and your current role with Cricket España?
Well, I came to Spain. It was by chance. It was a one-off holiday. Never been to Spain before. Always thought that Spain was just going to be, like what people think is just there, a lot of drinking and a lot of partying. But part of Spain we went to was Torrevieja, where we are now. And it was just fantastic. We loved it. It was all the things that your parents and your grandparents tell you that back home used to be. And it was wonderful. We loved the climate, of course. We're very lucky to have the weather we have here. People are very nice. So we decided to make a go of it. And what we ended up doing was opening up a small family restaurant and takeaway. And we've been here 20 years now, and we're absolutely loving it. The cricket took a bit of a backseat for a while, because obviously when you're running a business, you need to give it concentration for the first couple of years. But then I heard that the local team was doing some trials for people to come along on open day. So I thought, well, on my way into work, I thought, yeah, I'll turn up, which I did. I found where it was, and as I was walking to the area, one of the batsmen had just smashed this ball, and it was sailing over the boundary. And as I just walked to the edge of the boundary, I looked up and I thought, should I? And it was one of those moments you see all the time, don't you? If you catch it, it looks great. If you drop it, you look like a real plonker. But, the catch. And as I took the catch, everyone around the ground went quiet. And the silence was only broken. I threw it in flat, straight into the keeper's hands. And he went, bloody hell, that hurt. And after then, I started playing cricket in Spain. And I loved it. It was great.
Wow.
As you know, when you're playing cricket in the sunshine, there's nothing better.
Wow, what a story. So this catch, you said that you were just walking past, and did you have to make ground to it, or did it pretty much come straight to you? Did you chase the ball? Did the ball find you? What happened?
I had to make it. It was, I thought, okay, I made a few adjustments. I trotted a little bit up to it, and took it like the old textbook style. Oh yeah, it weren't easy. It was like some of the ones you see on the ECN network, mate.
We certainly saw a lot of balls flying over fielders' heads, didn't we? In the ECL, and of course in the Dream 11 European Cricket Series, which you've been a part of. I want to know, before you moved to Spain, what was your Spanish like, or is that something you picked up along the way?
To be truthful, my Spanish I thought was very good, because I did what I think a lot of people do. They buy the books, they buy the CDs, and the year before I came out here, the CD was always in, and I was repeating and repeating and repeating. And then I came out here and I started speaking it, and everybody was looking at me thinking, what are you saying? Because I suppose it's a bit like going to England and speaking very, very correct and very posh English, and people just don't do it. So that was a waste of time. And the only way I learned really was through the people I associated with and worked with, suppliers. And the best thing of all was my daughter. She was starting nursery, going to school, and when she would come home with her books, I would be the first one there to help her with homework. So she was learning and I was learning, and it just went on from there. It was great. And people out here, the Spanish people, fantastic people. If you make an effort, they go out of their way to help you, and they did. So it was all about that, all about the people.
Yeah, and you do mention your daughter, and I think that's a photo of you guys there. Talk us through what's going on. Was that after a particular tournament?
That was after a match that we played, and a nice setting we have near the Benalba golf course here, near Alicante, a lovely ground there. We just played a league game there, and we'd won the game. And for me, that picture really signifies what cricket's about. It's about playing the game. It was an excellent game, played in the right spirit. And afterwards, both teams went to a local bar. We had a few drinks. So both teams together, the umpires were there, the officials were there, and to have family there as well, it's wonderful. Nothing's better than playing a game of cricket and then afterwards socialising a little bit and having family there as well.
And we do know that you're involved with Cricket España as the Director of Junior Cricket. Tell us a little bit about that role and how you've enjoyed working with some of the younger players to try and develop the sport in the country. Because it's not that well known, is it?
No, it's not that well known. It is after last year, I have to say. and it is after some of the tournaments that we've had at the marvelous ground at Albia, Sporting Alfest Cricket Ground, right on the beach at Alfest LP. But for me, I think we're very lucky here in Spain. We've got a lot of hard-working, dedicated, and passionate people that making sacrifices for cricket out here, and these volunteers, they're the people that are helping to promote, support, and develop and grow the game here. And without them, cricket wouldn't be where it is. But it is. We're in a good place. A lot of things going on. We've got good clubs out here. We've got a great network of umpires, and any good cricketer will tell you that if you've got good officials and good umpires that control the games, the cricket is that much better. So my role is really trying to get cricket into young kids playing, boys and girls. We've been well supported on that with the ICC. They've run some pilot schemes with us whereby they provide equipment for the schools to play quick cricket. Our role is to train up the teachers, the PE teachers. They become the coaches. So it works really well. It's a very good setup. And the kids, boys and girls, they're learning to play the basic skills of cricket and learning to play quick cricket is great. It's nice to see that happening. We've done that now in Madrid, in Barcelona. Just before the lockdown, it was about to happen in Valencia as well. But it will happen. It will continue. And I'm sure that part of it will come on in leaps and bounds. And for us also, it's great that some of the feedback that we're getting from these schools is saying that cricket, you could disagree, many people do, but a lot of people see cricket as a English sport. It's, cricket originated in England as far as I'm concerned. So cricket is a bit like fish and chips, is English. So they're using the game as a tool to also teach the children English. So that's really encouraging. It's nice to know that schools are adapting the sport, which is also helping them to teach the English to the kids. So that's fantastic. It's also, we're learning of stories from areas like Barcelona and Madrid again, where a lot of people are coming to us and saying, you know what, we like a lot of European countries have had a lot of refugees come in, and these guys, they've had horrid stories, horrid backgrounds, and they're in a new place. It's a different culture, different language, and cricket in the community has helped bring them together. It's brought them friendship. It's brought them confidence. And that's lovely. It's lovely to know that a sport that you love so much and are so passionate about is also doing great things like that, like getting people together and bonding. But as you said, like with the European Cricket Network, we had loads of things, a full calendar of events really planned for the juniors out here this year. But, as soon as we're able to kickstart it, we will do. Likewise, with the women's cricket, that's something we really wanted to kickstart this year. A lot of hard work has already been done up and down the country, a lot of coaching sessions, and we're at a phase now where a lot of the girls are moving from softball to hardball, which is excellent. And that's all about to happen. And, the coronavirus, it's put a stop to us, but it hasn't stopped the will and the passion. And as soon as we're able to, we'll be out there again. Like I say, we're very fortunate with the weather. So if it's October, November, it makes no difference. We'll be there.
Yeah, that's true. And I must say I was very impressed with Cricket España and the central role they played in, of course, facilitating the European Cricket League last year as the host country. And we look forward to that again next year. Turning to a little bit earlier in the year, we had our first Dream 11 European Cricket Series. So if you are new to European cricket, you may have missed it. We have plenty more planned as soon as it's safe to do so, and we're hoping to be able to bring you some news about those very shortly. But these tournaments, they're normally 6-team tournaments. They run over 5 days, Monday to Friday, normally with 4 games a day, all in the T10 format. And going back to March, we had one in Alicante, and you were the commentator, and you did a magnificent job, I have to say. I don't know who taught you, but you obviously learnt from the best, Rico. And we enjoyed some of what we heard from you. Pardon me. Tell us a little bit about that experience and what the European Cricket Series, supported by Dream 11, was like for you.
Well, I was gonna start by saying you were ignoring me at La Manga during the ECL, but I was taking all the tips. I was picking up on what you were doing, mate. So I learned from the best. I learned from Mr. Maximo himself. But no, I have to admit it wasn't something which was pre-planned. I was actually down to be one of the umpires, and then there was last-minute changes, and I was very nervous. I must admit, because a little bit of background. I'm actually a training consultant, and to get that qualification, I had to do a lot of audio videos for assessment. And looking back at those videos, I used to hate it because I'm one of those guys, and a lot of people say the same. When you listen back to your own voice, you think, do I really sound like that? And I didn't like what was coming out the other end. So I was thinking about that when I was commentating, and I made myself a deal. I said, well, I'll do it, but I'm not going to listen to myself. So a lot of people were coming up and saying, oh, you sound really good. You sound really calm. You've got a very soothing voice. Though there were other people that said, yeah, it was putting a lot of people to sleep. So I did people with insomnia a lot of good as well. But no, it was great, because I think when you love the game and you're passionate about the game, it doesn't matter in which way you're involved. If you're playing, you're involved, and your mindset's in a different way. If you're umpiring, is in a different way. And I think commentating for me was a little bit of the both. It was like, you're out there, but you're not. You're umpiring, but you're not, because you're not actually giving the decisions, but you're after whatever decision or call's been made, you're commentating on it. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Loved being involved in it. And I think my wife and my daughter would say, well, it suits you, Dad, because when we're watching TV, we're watching Spain play, for example, in the European or the World Cup, or if you're watching cricket, you're always commentating. You never shut up. So it's a case of, well, Dad, I bet you're loving this because nobody's telling you to shut up. You could just keep talking. It was great. It was, I think once I started, I think I did the first one with James Santiago. Yeah, my mate
Santiago,
Diego.
of course.
Yeah. Hope you're doing well, Santiago.
Hello, James.
But he was brilliant.
He's a great guy, James, isn't he? He is central to a lot of stuff we do at European cricket, and we always love James's work behind the scenes or on the microphone. And actually, you did build on the Maximo. You had your tiki-taka, boom, boom, seis mas. I've been trying to learn Spanish as well recently, so you did help me a little bit with some Spanish. Again, I've got plenty more words to learn before I head back to Spain for the next tournament, whenever that comes around. Now, talking about the European Cricket Series and the Dream 11 European Cricket Series in March, it was the first time we had this new rule, which was a tiebreaker rule, which was kind of innovative, which was the golden ball. Now, this actually happened in one of the games, and we just might take you through it, because I do have the footage here, and this is actually the last ball of the game. So they needed 1 run to tie. Actually, they needed this might go a little bit further. They needed two to tie. Oh, sorry, they needed 2 to tie. So they got 1. There's a fumble comes in. The bowler can't believe it. They actually hit a 6 off the penultimate ball, didn't they, to get within reach? And then everyone kind of just thought, well, that must be a tie, and that's the end. But then, of course, as some people were aware, not everyone, as we look at the replay, and just look, if he fields this, you'd have to say they're not getting back for 2 to tie the game. But of course, can't even blame it on a bad bounce, because he got a pretty good bounce. Lucky he didn't go for 4, because they would have lost the game. And then the bowler, well, luckily we don't have stump microphones at that end, I think. And this is the golden ball. So they needed 2 to win. If they don't get 2, then the bowling team wins. So what was that like as a moment as a commentator?
Well, it was, I mean, as you said, it was a great game between Levante Cricket Club, who ended up, unfortunately, on the losing side because of the golden ball, and Madrid United. It was a really close game. At one time, Levante looked like they had it in the bag. And then, as you said, there were a few big hits. And then that moment there, that sort of happened right in front of the commentary box. And as me and my partner at the time was Tim, who was assisting me with the commentating, we both looked at each other and thought, we think this could actually be a tie. And we sort of, nay. And then when that happened, and the fumble, I mean, you would never have put money on that guy fumbling. He's a passionate guy. He's a great cricketer, a lovely guy as well. He's really up for it. His adrenaline is flowing all the time. So when the ball was coming to him, I thought, nah, he's going to pick that up clean, and that's going to be it.
I love this bit, Rico. Look at this. This is I want to do a whole show on celebrations gone wrong, but you just have a look at the batsman here running off, and then these excited teammates come in. Always takes his head off. Have a look at this. He runs in now, and whoa. So it was all action. It was all action, wasn't it? In the European cricket series, and with partnership with Dream 11.
Yeah, the great story behind that was that I was driving up to Sporting Alphas with the tournament referee, and it was just because it was in the stuff that we sent to read through about the rules, etc. So we actually talked about it on the way up to the ground, and the scenarios of what if this, what if that, and for it to actually happen, well, it was just amazing. But the good job that we did, because at least, I said to you earlier, one thing I don't do is I don't like listening to myself when I go back. But that was the one occasion where I did, and we came back home and I replayed it just to make sure that I had it right, and told all the viewers that were watching the correct information, and gladly I did. But it was great. Yeah, excellent. Because sorry, Vinny, I was just going to say we're excited now, and that happened way back, and that's what I think T10 has brought to cricket, and especially here cricket in Spain. The clubs love it. They absolutely they want more of it all the time, and we've got some great venues here. La Manga, we know. Sporting Alfest, we've had it now. Cartama's another one. Malaga, they say we want it up here.
Yeah.
And then you've got Desert Springs, of course. Everyone knows Desert Springs, brilliant grass wickets. Everybody wants it, and the reason they want it is for things like that. That golden ball was brilliant. Then in the series, we had Waka, one of the Sporting Alphas players, taking a hat trick and also taking a fifer.
Taking fifer in a T10. Can you believe it? Only got 12 balls. He took a fifer.
Yeah, and then we see 2 tons as well. Adam Alger, brilliant ton that was for La Manga Torre. And then we had Eddie Ballard, and that was superb. So, I think for me, I'm talking for Spanish cricket here, but I think what the ECN has done is brought fun, enjoyment, and excitement back to cricket in Spain, and we love it. And for me, as director of junior cricket, to take things like that to schools and to clubs and associations and say this is cricket. Well, I've got to be on a winner because it's so exciting.
It's an exciting product, isn't it? The T10 format. And again, for some of the audience, they have these preconceived conceptions of cricket. Perhaps if they haven't seen it a lot, they think it's an old men in white standing around and watching the grass grow. But nothing could be further for the truth. And the T10 vehicle to promote cricket, I think, is fantastic. Now, just getting away from cricket for a little bit, you tell us that you told me earlier that you run a restaurant. Is that right? Tell us a bit about your restaurant. I believe it's called Rico's. It's
called Rico's, and that's where
name.
Yeah, that's where the name Rico has come from for me. It's, as I said earlier, it's a small family-run restaurant. Just basically myself, the wife. Now the daughter's old enough, and we just serve the community that we're in. We've got a lot of expats around us, a lot of people from Scandinavian countries. And we do a lot of the food that they like. We do basically everything. We also do the Spanish type of food. So we do the calamares, and we do a lot of rice dishes. I know you got a soft spot for paella.
I love paella. You know that.
Yeah. But it's one of those things. Maybe it's a bit like your job. It's a job, but you love doing it because you're making lots of friends all the time, and that's what it's about. We're there, we're serving the community, but everyone we know, most people, I would say 90% of our customers that are coming in are people that we know very well. We've been there 20 years, so I've seen, kids, they used to sit on the counter when the parents were ordering the food. Now those kids are coming in with their boyfriends and girlfriends and ordering food. So it's lovely. The only bad thing about it is it shows how old I'm getting,
Well, you don't look at Rico. Now, look, you've been a fantastic guest on the show. It's been great to have you here in the European Cricket Studio. Now, I've got a couple of things I need you to do for me just before we go. And one of the things is actually for our European Cricket quiz. And now this opens tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Central European time and closes at 6 p.m. on Sunday. Central European time. You can win a fantastic pair of cricket shoes from Painter, our fantastic sponsors. But what I need you to do is to find a random household object, an RHO. Now, this will be in the quiz. So you get the inside running if you're watching us here. There's only 6 questions in the quiz. It's very easy. So, Rico, you can take a minute or two to go around. And I'm just going to tell our viewers a little bit about what's coming up. Now, if you'd like to join the show, all you have to do is follow that link, tiny.cc/EC Studio. And if you'd like, you can join me at the end of the show for a chat. You can ask me a question. I'll ask you a question back. It's your chance to be part of the European Cricket Studio and be one of our guests. Wow, Rico, that was very quick. So make sure you follow that link if you'd like to get involved as a guest for a 1-on-1. Now, Rico's back. What have you got for me, Rico?
I'm going back to the past. I think you'll remember this.
Oh, it's Crazy Frog. Oh, my kids love Crazy Frog. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's softly speaking, but he still works. It probably sums us up, Maxi. Me and you.
That sounds... Actually, I have been told my commentary sounds a bit like that. So the Crazy Frog toy, there it is. So make sure we've got all the details of the European Cricket Quiz coming up. And if you want to get involved, I'll just put the information up now about the European Cricket Quiz. There it is, open 6 a.m. Friday, which is tomorrow, closes 6 p.m. Sunday. Very simple. All it is 6 questions, multiple choice. We all love multiple choice. And somebody will be winning those fantastic shoes thanks to Painter. Now, Rico, you're a very entertaining guy. I think there's no doubt about that. And sometimes you're a bit cryptic. And I like that you can be a bit random. I think it can be a good trait. Now, before you said to me something that you said you'd elaborate on during the show. So I have no idea where you're going with this. But you said that cricket's a lot like tropical storms. You mentioned you almost got the tail end of a tropical storm at the Dream 11 European Cricket Series back in Spain in March. How, please tell me, because I've been waiting all day for this, how is cricket like a tropical storm?
Okay, mate. Well, you're going to like this. Well, I think like you, my mind, it's always spinning, isn't it? I mean, in my case, it does a lot of spinning, but there's not always somebody at home. But anyway, so one of the things I came up with, like you said, tropical storms and current affairs, how they run hand in hand. So, for example, if we talk about tropical storms, they follow letters of the alphabet. So this year we've had Arthur, we've had Bertha, and so forth. And you get the gist, A, B, C. And Gloria, you mentioned Gloria. Well, I mean, the T10 Dream 11 European Series in Albert Sporting Alpha as well. I mean, 1 minute, everybody was just sat there soaking in the rays. The sun was shining. They were splashing on the sun cream. Then all of a sudden, that wind picked up. It went dark. And it was mayhem. You know, the umpires and the players were losing their hats. The bails, even though they were replaced the heavy bails, they kept falling off. So we had to do away with the bails. The sight screens were going all over the place. And Maxi, at one point, one of the sight screens was actually on the pitch. It was actually taking guard for the next delivery. It was amazing.
Unbelievable.
And people watching, I mean, if you've been watching the cricket in Spain, everybody will know the Woodbridge Oval at Sporting Alphas, and it has a fabulous duck pond. And in fact, the ducks,
I love the duck.
They're great. If you get a duck, they quack you off. No word of a lie. They line up, they quack you off. They're brilliant. But even the ducks, they disappeared. I mean, there was a theory that they ended up in Peking or somewhere. You know, it was amazing. Now, our friend Yannick, you know, Yannick's a great guy. You know him, I know. I mean, he was enjoying the sunshine. His shades on, he had his shorts on. But when that wind turned up, you know, the shades went and he had a jacket on. He put a pair of shoes on, much to the disappointment of the Spanish senoritas, I have to say. They were very disappointed. I bet. He covered his legs. John Howden, our CEO, a great guy. He's always involved in cricket, always doing something. And at this tournament, he was scoring. He had so many layers on that he was like a shag pile carpet. You could just see his little hands, you know, signaling to the umpires. It was amazing. But you get the gist. You know?
Sure.
It follows the pattern. Gloria went, and after Gloria went, there was Hannah, there was Isaac. So my theory is current affairs is very similar. So, for example,
current affairs. So current affairs
things that
also
happen
goes
now, things that are happening now, for example.
follows the alphabet. Is that what you're saying?
Tropical storms follow the alphabet. Current affairs does a
Okay.
similar thing.
All right.
So here I told you, be with me. So B was around for ages. So A, you probably don't remember. So nor do I. It was probably Amitabh Bachchan. So Amitabh, if you're watching, respect. But
Okay.
A, then B would be come on. B had to be only one thing: Brexit.
Brexit.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
Then after Then after B, C. Now C was something nasty.
And we're living through C. We're living through C, aren't we?
We're living through C. And while we're on that, Maxi, I think you're with me on this. I'd like to just take this moment to thank all the people, especially all the medics that have worked tiresomely, sacrificed so much for us. And the reason I want to say this is that here in Spain, we have a lot of tournaments all around the year, and a lot of the teams are medics. One that comes to mind, only because they've been coming for years, is Phoenix Cricket Club. So all those medics out there, thank you very much. We're indebted to you, really. Not just the medics, but people, the emergency services, the staff at the supermarkets, at the chemists. Thank you all very much. But anyway, coronavirus wasn't nice, but we're getting past it. C is turning into C for cricket. And yeah, I mean, your news last week, ECN and the Czech Super League. Is
Czech
that
cricket.
right?
Double C, Czech cricket coming up, June 13.
That's coming up. So cricket is coming back. 5 weekends of cricket, 40 matches. That's going to be fabulous. And that's what we want to hear. And, after C, what comes after C? D. The D, you're going to like this one. D has to be Daniel Weston, Dream 11.
Dream 11, Daniel Weston, ECL founder, of course. Hello, Daniel. Hello, Daniel, if you're watching.
So, and then if you're watching, And then after D, E. Now, E can only be one thing. Come on, you tell us what E is.
E, extra.
Come on, I'll put you on the spot. No.
Come on. Please,
it can only be
enlighten me. Oh, yeah, of course. European Cricket Network, European Cricket Studio, where we are, European Cricket. Follow us, European Cricket.
And that's the big thing. And this is my point, Maxi. This is where we want to be. And on that point, so just viewers, wherever you are in the world, respect the rules, the regulations, respect what you have to do, listen to the authorities. So wash those hands, wear those masks, respect the social distancing. And together we can get through this. And when we get through it, there'll be more of the tournaments that happen in the Czech Republic, a lot more. We're waiting for them here in Spain, because if we don't, we know what happens. The storm will keep going, and E will change to F. And like my good friend Tim will say, that means there's no F in cricket. You like that?
Oh, gee, that was a long walk, Rico, but you got us there in the end. Yeah, well, we want to see some F in cricket. And we want to see some shortly. Rico, thanks so much for being part of the European Cricket Studio tonight. We've loved your work in the Dream 11 European Cricket Series back in March. We hope to see you again. We appreciate all you're doing for Cricket España in your role, working with the juniors there, and your contribution to the European cricket community. So thanks so much. Hopefully we have some cricket for you soon. And I guess we'll see you next time on the European Cricket Studio.
Yeah, Vinny, I just want to say we're loving what you do and loving what Mike does. Thank you very, very much for keeping the cricket community sane during these troubled and testing times. And I can't wait to be sat next to you commentating when Maximo and seis carreras comes together.
I hope there's seis más, and we hope we have a great time. Thanks, Rico, and thanks for being part of this show. See you later. Adios. That was Rico Phull from Cricket España. What a guest he was on the European Cricket Studio tonight, in various roles with European cricket over the years, and particularly as a commentator, and also involved as an official during the inaugural European Cricket League back in 2019. So just a reminder to everyone, if you would like to be on the show, all you have to do is follow that link, tiny.cc/EC Studio. And I see we've got a few comments here. We've got Kieran Wood. Now, is that Kieran Wood? Is that who clotheslined himself in the Dream 11 European Cricket Series at the Sporting Alphas ground? If it is, please follow the link, because I want to talk to you. Also, we've got a few other fans of Rico. We've got Kate. Hi, Kate. We've got Shahid asking questions. He wants to know how he can, if we allow overseas players in the league. So if you'd like to ask that, why don't you join the broadcast, tiny.cc/EC Studio. I'm going to leave that up there while we have a bit of a chat about cricket and particularly crick-splaining tonight. So crick-splaining, if you're new to it, it's just explaining cricket and particular rules, or they're called laws of the game actually in cricket. And tonight we're going to highlight Law 5. Now, Law 5 in cricket is all about the bat. Right, so obviously you got a ball and you got a bat in cricket. So Law 5 is exclusively dedicated to the bat and the rules and regulations surrounding a bat. And I've got a cricket bat right here. You might have seen one of these before. This is just one I had lying around. Now, there are some rules about cricket bats. And for example, the length is not allowed to be any more than 38 inches. Which is 965 millimeters, or just under a meter. Now, although bats can't be longer than that from top to bottom, most are not close to 38 inches. So this one I measured, it's about 33 inches, so probably about 83 or 84 centimeters. So it could be about that much longer. Now, unless you are very, very tall, it's actually going to be a bit cumbersome if you were to have a bat that big, because it's just not going to feel right. But there is that rule. Now, the width, now this is a bit more important. It's only allowed to be 4.25 inches, so 4.25 inches wide, or 108 millimeters, about 10.8 centimeters. So for a long time, this were the rules, just the length and the width. And there weren't really rules to do with how thick bats could be, or the edges. Now, typically they didn't need those rules about depth and the edge, because if you had very, very wide bats, and by that, very deep bats, very deep edges, they just become too heavy to use effectively. But what happened with increases in the use of technology in designing bats, and particularly with the advent of computers, they were able to basically make bats with more wood, but balance them so they didn't feel as heavy as they were. So they kind of picked up a lot lighter than they were. So what that meant was that you see some bats nowadays that are a lot bigger than the bats that they use. And by bigger, I mean they're a lot thicker. So even this one, it's not even a particularly big bat, but it's got quite thick edges, you can see here. All right. And so that actually had to add some rules in 2017 to the length and width. So the depth now can be no more than 2.64 inches, or 67 millimeters, and that's kind of from the spine of the bat to the front. So this kind of do it here, like this kind of a measurement can't be more than 2.64 inches, and the actual edge of the bat, or the side of the bat, cannot be more than 1.56 inches, or 4 centimeters. So bats, there's no regulations on how heavy they can be, but obviously if they're too heavy, then they're a bit difficult to use. Bats typically weigh between 2.7 ounces to 3 pounds, sometimes slightly more or less than that, which is about 1.2 to 1.4 kilograms. And you'd find it, players get quite funny with the weights of their bats. So, for example, I always liked a slightly lighter bat. It was probably around 2 pounds 8 or so, and you feel even 1 ounce difference, which is only about 30 grams, you just kind of can feel that it's not quite right for you. So when players get up levels, especially if they have a favorite bat, they do try and look after it. Modern players, the bats they use, because they are sponsored or whatever, they often don't last as long. They often don't take as good care of them, and they just use them until they break, and they'll get another one, which is lucky. We're not all that lucky, obviously. Oh yeah, and bats must be wooden. I'll put that in there as well. So we will talk about the aluminium bat in a second, but that wasn't a rule. And then an aluminium bat was used in a game, and they actually brought in a rule saying, actually, you can't do that. So that's a little bit about crick-splaining bats. Now, you might say, well, why do you have these dimensions? Why can't people use whatever bats they like? Well, then I need to tell you about the monster bat incident of 1771. Now, we're going back, like Rico might be old, but he's not as old as so he wasn't born in the 18th century. Now, what happened in 1771? Now, this is a recreation. I don't think it's an actual photograph from 1771. But this guy comes out with a bat, and it's wider than the stumps. So he comes out with a bat that is just wider than the stumps, so probably 2 or 3 times as wide as the bat I've got here. And he just plonks it in front of the stumps and can pretty much bat all day. After that, a rule came in, and it's still the same to this day as far as the width of the bat being 4 1/4 inches. So imagine coming out to bat with something like that. That looks like a barn door, doesn't it? So that wasn't really in the spirit of the game, but you got to hand it to him for ingenuity, I guess. So that was why we have restrictions on how wide bats can be, and it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? But let's have a look a bit how cricket bats have evolved over the years. So you might not realize that in the first versions of cricket, the ball was actually delivered underarm, normally along the ground. It wasn't even really allowed to bounce that much. So the early cricket bats actually look more like hockey sticks or field hockey sticks. And you see on the left of that picture there, that's what they use. And it makes sense because you don't really need the wood up the top. It means you can swing it faster. The ball goes further. They didn't really use pitches either. They just rolled along the ground and give it a whack. Now, slowly they allowed the ball bouncing more. And so you'd see the evolution of cricket bats to have more wood up the top, and then and those shoulders of the bat, which are quite distinctive on cricket bats, they've got a little bit of a point here, and that was to deal with balls that were shorter and coming up a little bit higher. So that's how bats have changed, and probably that bat on the right of that top picture there is from around the 1880s when cricket was really evolving into something like the game that we know today. But there's been a few experiments with bats, and some have stood the test of time and some haven't. Now, one which maybe some of our older viewers might remember, and I remember having one of these as a kid, it was the scoop, the Gray Nichols scoop, or sometimes you'd have a double scoop. And I think Brian Lara had one that had 1 scoop and 2 little scoops. But the scoop was basically in the 70s where one of the companies took a chunk out of the back of the bat, and what that did was make it a bit lighter. So you'd think it might cost a bit in power, but of course, if it's lighter, you can swing it a bit harder. And they found this was a really good bat for some players. They could play some shots they probably, with power, they couldn't have otherwise, just by taking a scoop out of the bat. And you can see it's a very iconic bat from the 1970s and 80s, the scoop. Now, Mark Lovell's brought up the bat from 1979, the aluminium bat, and that was Dennis Lillee. He came out in a test match in Perth against England using this aluminium bat, which he was an ambassador for. I think he had a sponsorship deal going, and he hit a shot down the ground for 3, and of course it made a really strange sound because normally bats are wooden. And went down the ground, and the English captain complained. He said, look, it's damaging the ball, and he showed the ball to the umpires, and the umpire agreed. They said, look, no, you can't use that aluminium bat. He had a little bit of a moment, let's say. The bat was tossed away rather than given to a teammate who ran him out a wooden replacement. I think it's stuck in the ground like Excalibur's sword, actually, although this is a little bit before my time. So that was the end of the aluminium bat, and then it was regulated that bats must be entirely made of wood. So that's the way it is to this day. So the aluminium bat there. Now, I love the mongoose, and you might remember this is about 10 years ago now. The mongoose was an innovation in bat shape, particularly for short form cricket. So with the mongoose, you see down the bottom there, the handle, instead of being a normal length handle, the handle goes a lot further down. So you've only got about half the length of hitting surface on the bat. And what that does is allows the batsman to generate much more bat speed, which means that their big shots are going to go further. Now, you can probably work out what the issue with this is. The issue is particularly that if you don't have as much bat to work with, you're more likely to miss the ball. So I haven't seen too much of the mongoose in recent times, but the mongoose was pretty cool. It was used in the Indian Premier League by Matthew Hayden, I recall, and perhaps a couple of other players around 2010. I think they do still sell them. They often use them for fielding practice before the game as well, because it's really easy to get more power. But I think if you're facing some of the best bowlers in the world, that you probably want as much bat as possible, and you don't want to be giving half the bat away. But the mongoose was something cool, and I've always wanted to get my hands on one. I've never actually held one, but I'd love to have a bat with a mongoose. If you've ever held a mongoose, why don't you let us know in the comments or join me for a chat. So that is Crick-splaining tonight, all about bats. And if you have any question about bats, put them in the comments. We'll try and come to you. Now, the cool thing about bats as well, and it's pretty rare compared to a game like baseball where you see bats breaking all the time, but occasionally you do see cricket bats breaking, and breaking quite dramatically. So tonight's video we're going to watch together is all about bats breaking, and it being caught on tape in some pretty big games. So why don't we have a look at this together and tell us what you think of these ones. And with thanks for the maker of this video. This is the first one. This is top 10 bat breaks. That looks pretty innocuous, just hit down the ground. But where's the rest of the bat gone? That's gone. That's a pretty dramatic one. Often they'll kind of break at the V or the join where the handle meets the blade of the bat, and this the keeper doesn't know where it's gone. Here's one from, oh no, it's another bat explosion. This is from the Big Bats League in Australia, and Brett Lee, he threatens to throw it back at him quite dangerously. Thankfully, he's just showing his sense of humour. Look at this one. This breaks kind of halfway through the handle. Here's another bat break. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, this one comes straight back at the bowler. Watch out. Jeez. This actually almost hits his partner as well. So it's very rare. You don't expect it to happen. I just love watching the batsman's reaction. Now, this one's not even an attacking shot. It's just blocked. Carberry from England. And no one seems to know what's happened here. It just must have hit in a spot, like a weak spot on the bat. No one can believe it. It's just the stickers holding it together. You can't believe it. That's probably his favourite. That one just doubles in half. Here's another one. The bat goes one way, the ball goes the other way. Actually, it gets it so well. It goes for 4 all the way down the ground. But the bat, how far's that gone? And it's pretty obvious he needs a new bat. So hopefully the people in the change room are watching. That one's just exploded. Watches the ball and then looks down, and he's holding about the top third of his bat. And again, almost hitting his partner. Friendly fire. This one's not as obvious. This is Maxwell from Australia. He gets through and then goes, oh, hold on. Might need to change this one. That one's kind of broken up in the handle under the grip. So just a reminder, if you follow the link tiny.cc/EC Studio, we're ready for you now. If you'd like to join me on the show, get your face out there in front of the whole world on European Cricket Studio. This is another nice shot from Shane Watson of Australia. All the way for 4. What could go wrong? Crowd applause. Quattro carrera. And new bat, please. One wasn't as dramatic as the ones that look like the bat's exploding, but this was kind of quite amusing. I remember breaking a bat once, but I only had one bat, so I had to specifically say whose bat I wanted them to run out. Here's one from the old days. South Africa versus Pakistan. In the 90s, I think. And he looks down. There's just a big chunk of bat. It's quite dangerous because of the edges there. I don't know what the rocking the baby's all about. So watch this one. The ball goes that way. The bat goes with it. Everyone takes cover. Here's another one. Oh, it's another defensive one. Mongia from India, I think, against South Africa. Now, how does this happen? It's just a defensive stroke. The ball hits the bat. It looks like the bat's made of cork or something. The bowler feels pretty impressed because he's like, I'm bowling pretty fast when I'm breaking bats. This is number 10, the final one. I quite like this one because he thought, oh, maybe I've hit that. And then he goes, oh, maybe I didn't hit that. He jams down on the Yorker, and he jams down actually on the ground so hard that it snaps his bat in half. It's quite a good ball here, Yorker. And down he goes. He probably feels like he hit it because he hit something. He takes off for a run. Unfortunately, though, it was the end of the bat. New bats, please. So we've gone through quite a lot tonight. We had Rico from Cricket España. We've gone through bats and the regulations surrounding bats, and we were talking about bats breaking. Now I haven't broken too many in my time. Normally I go gradually over a certain amount of time, but you can see here there's this kind of join where the handle meets the face of the bat. So often over time that will kind of get a bit weaker and weaker. You'll feel it going a little bit. Sometimes people say that they're the best before they go, just before they break, because there's a bit more elasticity and you can feel like you can hit the ball a bit further. But yeah, breaking bats is pretty rare. Also, there's a certain art to taking care of a bat. So normally you don't buy a bat from the shop and go out and use it in a game straight away. There's a process called knocking in, where you use an old ball or use a specially crafted mallets to knock the bat in. Just so that it gets the strength in the areas where it's going to be hit, so that it lasts you longer. And then, nowadays this one has a small plastic kind of protective coating that you might be able to see there, and that protects the bat from little dents and stuff like that. Or sometimes they use linseed oil, which is used just to bind the bat together and give that extra strength to protect the wood. So they're definitely in the old days when kids got bats, they'd have to look after them in a certain way and make sure that they, they'd use oil and maybe a little bit of sandpaper. Only on the bats, by the way. Don't use sandpaper on balls. And so they would look after their bats. And I remember doing the same thing. And if it has a little crack, then often you could use electrical tape, which is allowable to use a minimal amount of tape to repair the bats. So that was all about bats. And I hope you enjoyed Crick Explained tonight and seeing some bats breaking all over the place. And I think we had one in the Dream 11 European Cricket Series back in Spain. I thought it was quite amusing when that happens. So we also, like I say, we had some news this week from the European Cricket Network website, ecn.cricket, about the Dutch authorities saying that they will be qualifying the same teams for the European Cricket League in 2021. So, of course, VOC will return as the champions. They automatically return to the tournament. And also HBS Kranhout, who were the second-ranked team in Holland, they will get to appear at the tournament because they get the actual qualifying place from the Netherlands because VOC have automatically qualified. So it'll be double Dutch trouble coming in ECL 21, which, of course, starts on May 30, 2021. It's actually 1 year tomorrow. Can you believe it? 1 year tomorrow we'll be in La Manga in Spain for the second edition of the European Cricket League. 16 teams, and we're really looking forward to it. There's going to be 8 days of T10 action. So we have other news this week. We had the Indian Tour of Australia apparently is going ahead at this point. We had some test matches announced, and they're for November and December. So that's good news if you want to see some cricket. Hopefully that stays that way. The T20 World Cup in Australia with the Netherlands playing, of course, Scotland. So some European representation in the T20 World Cup for men, and that's meant to be in October. So that's still up in the air. I think general feeling amongst the players that I speak to is they think it's unlikely that's going to go ahead because of logistical reasons. Australia's been quite strict with border controls at the moment, as you can imagine, being an island nation with the COVID-19 situation. So I guess we'll see how that situation develops. Just a reminder to everyone as well to check out our app. We've got the European Cricket Network app, which is new and improved. So make sure you get around it. You can download it on the App Store or on Google Play if you have an Android phone. It's got all the latest news. It will have ways to watch the games when they're happening live. Again, wherever you're watching around the world, make sure you download the app. Just search for European Cricket Network on the App Store or the Google Play Store. And we talked about cricket coming up, and we absolutely do have some cricket coming up. As announced last week, we've got the Czech Super Series, the European Cricket Network Czech Super Series. It begins Saturday, the 13th of June, and it concludes a month later on the 12th of July. It's 5 weekends of T10 action across 3 venues with 16 teams, 40 T10 matches streamed live on ECN. You can get all the updates there on www.ecn.cricket. So make sure that you put that in your calendar. You got Saturday, 13th of June. We're going to have 4 games coming to you from Prague in Czechia, with thanks to the federation there. And we had Terry O'Connor last week telling us all about that. Now, it's really important if you want to follow these games that you need to be informed. And the way to do that is go to www.ecn.cricket, and we can give you all the information about the teams. And you may want to participate with our partners, Dream 11, who do some great work as well to pick your team, pick your Dream 11, and have some extra fun that way. So just a reminder also about the quiz. We had the random household object from Rico earlier in the show. That'll be one of the 6 questions on the European Cricket Quiz this week. It opens tomorrow morning, so 6 a.m. Friday in Central Europe, and it goes all the way through the weekend until 6 p.m. Sunday. All you have to do is answer 6 questions. It's very, very simple. Just go to www.ecn.cricket for all the details. Click on quiz, and you'll have the inside running if you're watching this show. Now, if you've just joined us, just go back to the middle of the show, around the middle of the show or just before, and when we asked Rico for a random household object, that'll be one of the questions in the quiz. All the answers are on the ecn.cricket website, so you'll be able to find them pretty easily. And like I say, we want to reward you guys for watching us on European Cricket Studio. So the European Cricket Quiz, thanks to Painter. They are fantastic sponsors of European cricket, and you can win some wonderful footwear from Painter. So coming up, we're getting very close to getting some real cricket. So we've enjoyed having your company on Facebook Live all through May, and Instagram Live back in April, through this period where there hasn't been any live cricket to speak of. But we are getting very close to getting some live cricket across Europe in June. So we'll be turning our attention to the live cricket as it comes in, and we hope to have more announcements of live cricket very shortly. So the way to stay up to date is to follow the www.ecn.cricket website, or you can also follow or subscribe to the YouTube channel ECN European Cricket Network. When there is cricket, we're going to be having preview videos for some of these games. So you'll have all the inside info you need to enjoy the game to the fullest capacity. So make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, ECN European Cricket Network. Also, you probably follow our Facebook page, European Cricket, where we're streaming right now. But also we have other platforms. We have Instagram and Twitter to keep up to date with everything that's going on in European cricket. So we do appreciate your support and you joining us as always for our live shows. But also, I'm sure you're looking forward, as everyone is in Europe and across the world, about some live sport. And what better way to have cricket coming back than in Europe with the T10 format with these games. It's just non-stop action. The games are over in under 2 hours, and there's lots of big hits and action. So it's great opportunities for players across Europe to get involved, and we're planning to have Dream 11 European Cricket Series back as soon as possible. But don't forget about the Czech Super Series coming up on June 13, which I think is only 2 weeks away now. So it's only 2 weeks or perhaps 16 days until the Czech Super Series, which is going to be a great event coming up over 5 weekends. Well, like I say, we've enjoyed your company all through the month on Facebook Live. On behalf of Michael McCann and myself, it's been a pleasure bringing the shows to you. We hope you've enjoyed them. And wherever you are, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to European Cricket for everything going forward. But from all of us at European Cricket Studio, thanks very much, and we'll see you soon for another episode of the European Cricket Studio. But for now, it's goodbye.